Hello everyone, it is so good to see you again on this Tuesday night, and we are he doesn't like to be shorter
No, that's
than me.
not true. It's fine.
Just
Everything's
so
fine.
you know,
Let's not talk about
it's
it.
because he doesn't want to be shorter than me. Anyways, we are happy. I'm shrinking for him. We are happy that you're here today on this Tuesday and for our Tuesday talk. And we have picked another devotional, which I have to say is going to be a little challenging, I think, for us. And it is with the Bible app, as usual, and it is called Zephaniah.
Yeah, so we're just going to be working through just 3 devotionals on the Book of Zephaniah, and so it's probably one of those books that maybe you don't read a lot.
It's in the Old
You
Testament.
might have to look at the table of contents in your Bible to find it.
It's a minor prophet.
It's a minor prophet, and so this was one of the prophets that spoke to the people of Israel or the people of Judah when during the kings. And,
Okay.
And so this was after King David and Solomon, where the kingdoms were split in two, and the people they weren't doing the right thing.
No, they often didn't after that. Unfortunately, just like us, we have our challenges as well, of course. But these guys were, at the time, they were worshiping God, and they would do the sacrifices and the rituals that God required, but they also worshipped Baal and other gods.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, we're worshiping God and we're coming to the synagogue and we're doing what we're supposed to do, but when we're not there, we're off doing worshiping other people, and so it just seemed like almost disingenuous.
Right, and they were doing what they felt they needed to do in order to please God, but yet it didn't translate into their everyday life.
Right, it's almost not that they're placating. They're just kind of like, I don't even know if that's the right word, but I think they're just trying to say, hey, we got to get this done in order to be on the right page with God, and then we'll just go do what else we want.
Yeah, and we'll just, because we did what we had to do with God, it doesn't really matter what we do outside of the temple and outside of God, because we've already checked that box and done what they need to do.
Yeah, and so I think it becomes a dangerous place. I think first of all, it becomes dangerous when we start thinking, if I do this stuff, God will be happy with me, or this will make God satisfied, and we will we're fine.
And it will no longer matter what else I do, because I've done these other things.
Right. And so, first of all, that sort of relationship with God is kind of like a works-based relationship with Him, where it's just like, okay, as long as I go to church, as long as I read my Bible, as long as I volunteer once in a while, and as long as I give, or as long as I'm relatively a good person. Well, that comes down to kind of like a works-based, kind of like if I do all of these things, then God will be happy with me.
And then it doesn't matter if I gossip about my neighbor, if I have an issue with pride, if I watch something that I shouldn't watch, if I think thoughts that I shouldn't think, because I've already done all these other things. Right,
and so that's the problem with that is that that's a works-based kind of transactional type of relation. It's not really a relationship.
No, it isn't.
Right? Like it's clearly this isn't about them caring about putting God first in their life. They're just trying to appease God with their actions. And the thing about appeasing someone, for the most part, you don't really get away with that for very long.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you often get found out.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you can put on a show and say, well, I've done this for you, and I've done this for you, and I've done this for you. Eventually, your heart comes through. Eventually, people realize I don't know if this is even real for you, right? And not we may feel fool some of the people around us and for a little bit of the time, but you know what, God's not really fooled by that.
Yeah, what does it say in Hebrews? It says, Hebrews 4:13, it says, "And there is no creature hidden from his sight, but all things are naked and open to the eyes of him to whom we must give account." And Hebrews is telling us that, you know what, you can't hide from the things you're doing from God. You can't pretend that what you're doing outside of your religious time, which really should be our whole life, which is pretty much the point of what Zephaniah is trying to tell them. But you can't hide the things that you're doing from God. And we try to, but Hebrews is reminding us that nothing is hidden from God.
And you know what? A lot of times you think of that, and we think about how that lends itself to a picture of God who is kind of like looking down and watching your every move, and you better do the right thing.
Right.
And it's like we get this image of God like he's frowning down upon us, and like, and that's not what Hebrews is trying to say. He's trying to say, look, we're not going to be able to put anything past God.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like we're fooling ourselves.
Yeah, we're not fooling God.
We're not fooling God,
Yeah.
but we're fooling ourselves to think that we can do these things and have these behaviors, yet at the same time still act inappropriately in different parts of our life, or those parts that aren't as Christianly public, or that the other people in the church can't see. That's stuff that we do at home, we do at work, or no one would ever know. The problem is that we're not really truly being authentic with God.
Yeah, yeah. And God wants our whole life. It's about his love for us. I mean, it says that even in Zephaniah, and it talks about how, it's because God's love for us. It's not that he's trying to punish us, but it's his love. What does it say in Zephaniah that we wanted to read?
So Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 4 to 6 says this: "I will stretch out my hand against Judah, against all who live in Jerusalem. I'll destroy every remnant of Baal worship." Baal was one of the false gods, was like of the day in this place. "And the very names of the idolatrous priests, those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host, those who bow down and swear by the Lord, and who also swear by Moloch." Moloch, again, was another false god. "Those who turn their back from following the Lord and neither seek him or inquire of him." And so that there becomes the relationship. You hear what it says? They're not seeking God or requiring of God, or even asking God of anything. And so, I mean, those are the questions we need to ask in our life. It's not, am I going to church? Am I reading the Bible? Am I doing all the things a good person should do or a good Christian should do? Is that, are we seeking a relationship with Jesus? Are we seeking a relationship with God? Are we asking him for help? Are we doing that? Because if we're just doing the stuff, then we're not really in relationship.
Right, and that's what, God's love for us. If the entire Bible is talking about how God is trying to bring us as his creation back into relationship with him. His love for us is so strong that he just keeps saying, come on, come back to me, come back to me. Look, I'm sending you Jesus. I'm sending you all of these, in the Old Testament was these prophets. I'm coming, calling you back. And he just wants us to have a relationship with him. So this week, as you continue on through your week, we want to encourage you to read Zephaniah 1 and begin to think, what is it? Am I really searching? Am I having a relationship with Christ? Or is it all just about the things we have to do, the check marks that we have to check off?
And is there something I'm trying to hide from God? Is there a part of my life that I'm fooling myself into thinking God doesn't see?
Right.
And that's the examination part. And this is the hard part about being a Christian, and like talking about those secret sins and those times. That's tough stuff to talk about. But we're never gonna really truly feel like we are connected with God. And when hard times come, this is when all this stuff kind of breaks down, and we don't really trust in him, and we might even abandon him because we haven't had the relationship, we haven't asked him the questions, we haven't relied on him, Instead, we've kind of been doing this stuff and kind of, not really serving him when no one is watching. And so those are the questions you want to ask yourself and just say, God, and sometimes it's even hidden from us, right? Like sometimes we don't even realize that we're addicted to this, or we're treating people in a certain way, or we are holding on to things that we shouldn't hold on to. Like, we don't even know. But this is when we can inquire of the Lord and say, God, just reveal to me, show me my heart, reveal what is going on inside of me, and see if there be any wicked way in me. That's an old song.
It is an old song.
But it's a really, really sincere prayer. And you know what? It can be a tough prayer because God will reveal those things. But it's for our good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining us today on our Tuesday Talk. We look forward to continuing this difficult, challenging book of Zephaniah. And like I said, take a read and just ask the Lord to reveal himself to you this week. Have a great night.
God bless you.